So the first year we started off with one truck,
Mhm.
and then the second year our goal was to have five trucks, but we end up running seven trucks. And so it's based off the volume. So we'll run anywhere between three to seven trucks. That's what we've been running since our second year. But we have a bigger contract now. And now the goal is to have 30 trucks by next year.
Wow.
That is our goal. That's our goal because I mean, we pretty much have everything in place. Um, we have really strong teams, we have really strong trainers, we have really strong systems in place where it'll be able to handle, that amount of trucks. So that's our goal. That's our goal.
Welcome to the Confident Mompreneur podcast, where you can find solid advice along with warm guidance on motherhood, business, relationships, health, wellness, and everything you need to help add to your confidence and zest for life. And with interesting guests from all around the world, you'll hear real and relatable stories with impact and nuggets of wisdom to help you or the mompreneur meet the challenges of life with clarity and success. Now let's welcome your mompreneur host, Kyrie.
Well, welcome on today, Sausha. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Kyrie.
Yeah, I was telling her just before we hopped on, she has a PR agency that sent me over a little bio about her. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's a badass. I gotta have her on. So I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I know my schedule got a little crazy the last time, but I'm glad we were able to reschedule because that's just my schedule. It's just crazy.
Yep.
We talk about that.
We will definitely talk about that. So to start us out, I guess we'll just dive right into it. Who are you? What do you do? Tell us a little bit about you.
So my name is Sausha. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I currently live in Houston, Texas. I am engaged to Austin, and I have no kids at this moment. We have no kids. We're getting married next year in
Exciting.
Canada. So I'm super excited about that. And then on top of planning a wedding, I am a financial consultant. I've been in the business for over 10 years. So I assist with protecting families with life insurance and also educating them on how they can make and save money, just simply IRAs, 401ks, things of that nature. So pandemic happened, and Austin and I was like, well, let's create another stream of income. Let's create another stream of income. And we were thinking, what's the only things that's like open and moving right now? And it was trucks. Like the
Yep.
trucks are still making the deliveries and moving from state to state. So Austin said, let's get started in the box truck industry. We can make $1,000 a week. And I'm like, okay, well, that's an additional 4,000. Let's do it. But when we got into the box truck industry, I didn't have a coach or a mentor. I didn't have anyone to call on. So I was figuring everything out. We were like figuring it out. And it was just like a lot of trial and error. But when we got started, it became bigger than us. It became bigger than just an investment or another stream of income. The box truck industry is very lucrative. It was more than $1,000 a week. It was ranging anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day. So I'm like, oh, this is big. And I'm like, let's grow it as big as we can. And so we've been in the business for over 4 years. We run anywhere between three to seven trucks right now. And we have a team. We give second chances. We're building the community, offering jobs. And it's just been a really good experience. And in the midst of us starting the trucking business, I'm like, let's get some Airbnbs. Like, let's invest in some short-term rentals. And
That's the finance woman in you right there.
I'm
Multiple streams of
like,
income.
yeah, I'm like, let's keep this going. And we, invested into like a fourplex. And so we invested into a fourplex and created Airbnbs. And I'm like, well, I'll go get my real estate license. It was just like pandemic had me like all over the place. I'm going to invest into this, just in case, because we got into this zone of, man, everything pretty much shut down, and so what happens next? And I think I was just like acting out of maybe fear. I'm not sure, but it was just like I wanted to cover all bases. So if this doesn't work, we can do this, so
Yeah.
that's my life. That's my life of running a trucking business. I just sold my Airbnbs because I'm trying to, just take things off my plate. I want to become a mom,
Consolidate a little bit.
consolidate and, free up some of my time,
Yeah.
where I'm able to, when that time comes, when we're starting our family, I'm not trying to figure things out in the midst of starting it. It's like all figured out. And I know you don't know when it'll happen, but when it does happen, it's just like, I don't have that stress on me. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, how cool though that you took like this really like kind of scary period of time for everybody and you ended up turning it into this really like lucrative business. But you're right. Trucking was basically the only thing running at that point in time.
yeah.
Um and it's so funny listening to your story. I'm like, I relate to you on like so many levels. I also work a full-time job in finance.
Wow.
I work for Northwestern Mutual, so also
Okay.
insurance and investments and all the things.
Mhm.
And then I told her earlier, my partner does trucking. So
Yeah.
I see all the
All you need is Airbnbs.
yeah.
All you need is some
Apparently.
short-term rentals.
Yeah. Although you just said that was too much and you took it off your plate. So I'm not sure if
You
I
know
want to add
what?
one on.
It wasn't that it was too much, but when those problems or situations arise, it was too much. Like
Hmm.
it'll go fine, you'll go weeks without anything, and then something happened, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. So
Hmm.
I said, let me start with the least of my concern. I really don't, I can just really get rid of those and focus on financial planning. And Austin pretty much runs the trucking aspect of it as far as like being on the trucks, training people. I'm more admin, so
Hmm.
that falls in with my insurance business. So, if we need to look for other contracts or if I need to send out emails, I can do that because I'm in front of the computer. But when it comes down to the Airbnb, if a guest get locked out or, the toilet overflow or,
Hmm.
the AC goes out, I'm like, I got to make phone calls. I got to get over there. I got to see what's going on. And so, yeah, everybody's like, oh, get a manager. You can get a co-host to, handle all your problems. I'm like, but they're still going to call me. They're still going to call me and tell me about what happened. I don't want to hear nothing about it.
Yep.
So,
I think a lot of people think of like those additional streams of income like Airbnbs as like a set it and forget it type thing, but that's never true on anything.
it'll happen. You can like not even really, honestly, no. I mean, because I never had the privilege to put my phone on Don't Disturb,
Hmm.
right? Because I have 4 units. It's constantly booked. I have people in there. So if anything happened and they call and I'm not answering my phone, that's not good customer service.
Yeah.
So I just always have to have my phone on. So my nights, I go to sleep, but I'm like, my ear is to the phone just in
Hmm.
case, anything happens. Cause I would hate to be in an Airbnb and I call the host and they didn't answer.
Yeah. Agreed. No, agreed. But it's nice that you can recognize that like it's a little much for you right now and it's okay to like take a step back even if it was, not a big deal most of the time, but those occasional sometimes were enough.
Were enough. I think the situation came. We were on a 7-day cruise in July, and the battery went out in the door, and it
In the
was a
lock.
in the lock. It was a
Yeah.
keyless door, and the battery went out. It's like midnight. And I'm like, what? So I had to call, I am in the middle of the ocean calling a locksmith whenever I could get service to come and, unlock the door. So, I mean, things happen. You learn from it. You put things in place for it doesn't for that to not happen again. But I was just over it. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. I entirely get that. So let's talk a little bit about your guys' trucking business. So he kind of is more hands-on training side of things, you're more admin and those types of things. How did you guys have that conversation and what was it like as you started like figuring out how to do this? Because neither of you guys had a background in this, right?
Right. Um. So I guess we like assumed what our role was because it was, hey, and I feel like we've been like this from the start of our relationship, being that we're entrepreneurs. He knows that if he gives me an idea or, suggests something, I'm going to do the research and look into it. Like, it's just, you don't even have to
Mhm.
tell me,
Yeah.
do this, do that. It's just like, that's interesting. Like, let me look into it. I'll get back with you. And so he came and said, hey, call this number. We can call this number and they'll give us a contract. And so he made it seem so easy. And I'm like, okay, I'll call the number. I'm like, that's pretty easy. No, I called the number for 3 months straight. They answered every time. They scheduled appointments with me every time, but they never showed up to the appointment. And it was just like, man, like, do we give up? From here,
Yeah.
like, why aren't they accepting, why are they scheduling meetings and not showing up? And they finally this one, I was dealing with a guy and he never showed up, and then they passed me on to his assistant. She showed up and she got me started. So in those 3 months, I felt like at this point you guys aren't like responding to me. So I feel like it's a challenge. They never told me to stop calling. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep calling and you guys tell me to stop.
Yep.
Um, so I took on the information, found out that the contract was like furniture and appliances. So off rip, I was just, taken out of being on the truck. Like, okay, you're not gonna, deliver furniture and appliances. So he already knew that that was his position. And I'm like, okay, I'll get everything set up as long as you learn how to do whatever the contract, you know, ask of you. And I'll do the hiring, I'll do all of that. You just need to be at the warehouse, learn the business, and be able to duplicate yourself over and over again. That's
It
how we
No,
pretty
that's great.
much.
I love that because there's definitely some defined rules like in any relationship that you go into and it's like looking at okay, what are your strengths? What are your
Yeah.
weaknesses? How can we like work together so that we're both using our strengths to make this the strongest like business possible. So I love that you guys did that and really just kind of like assumed those roles and
Mhm.
of course it was a woman that finally showed up and helped
That I didn't want to say that, but I always keep telling this story over and over again, and I'm like, it took the woman to put everything in place, like always.
you. Yep.
First, you're the greatest. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. Which brings me to my next question. What was it like stepping into a very male dominated field as a woman, even just handling the admin side of things? Like, I'm sure that people probably talked down on you as you were trying to go through the process and get everything set up.
Honestly, I didn't have that experience
That's
because
great.
most of the like the office in the warehouse, majority of them were women, so they were more rooting for me that, hey, we have another woman, we have a
I
woman
love that.
as a contractor coming in that will be here in the warehouse. And even though she's contracting and they're running the management inside the warehouse, they were more rooting for me more than anything.
That
um
is so lovely.
so yeah, so it was like I created that relationship. Now when it came down to the males, I didn't have bad interaction. They probably will more want to talk to Austin than talk to me. which I'm fine with that. Like, as long as my truck is packed and on its way, I'm good with that. Now, when it came down to like our subcontractors, they will come and tell me, things because they know that I'll get things done fast, or I'll be more attentive to what they're asking. So it was like, I
You're the
guess
get
that
it
one of
done type of person. So they're
right,
like,
I'm gonna
I
get it
can
done.
I can believe that she's gonna get done what I need her to get done.
Uh-huh. They tell us to be like, okay, uh-huh. But you're on the truck. By the time you get off the truck, you're not thinking about what they ask for a day off. You don't, think about that. Um, so they it was a level of respect that they had for me. And I didn't have any type of challenges or, just any disrespect or anything like that. Now I will say when I hire, I don't tell them that I'm the owner either.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
They won't find out I'm the owner until maybe 6 months or a year later because they see me on TikTok or they see me on Instagram, but it never verbally came from me. I still don't even say I'm the owner. They just seen it. It was like, okay, that's the owner, then that's just what it is. Like they don't even come and question like, so you are the owner. They just accept it for what it is.
Well, and by that point, you've probably developed enough of a relationship of like mutual respect that they're like, oh, okay, I can see that she gets shit done and I
Yeah.
can respect that. So, like, I get
I'm
it.
gonna just leave it and let it be.
Yep.
Yep. So we don't tell them we're owners. I'm like the secretary and Austin is the supervisor, the trainee, or the trainer. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. So, how do you guys go about hiring for your business and what was that like as you guys like got started and were like, okay, we have the things that we need in place. How do we actually get this going now?
So we started off with family and friends. Austin had his brothers, start with us because like we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And so Austin brothers were on board with it. And then Austin hired like a family friend. He was on board. So we utilized them for that trial and error aspect of it. So being able to put payroll together, being able to, just put those systems in place. So when
Yeah.
we do start growing and scaling, we're not caught off guard. Things happen. People, you still it's still a learning opportunity every day. But I didn't want to scale to 7 trucks and not have systems in place, contracts in place. So family and friends is what we started off with, and then the second year, that's when we start hiring because I was able to be in the warehouse, see what everybody else was doing, see what's working. Even though it's
What's
family,
missing?
yeah, what's missing, and even though they were family, there is still business. We still have to treat you as our
Yeah.
uh subcontractor. So that's how we were able to go through our trial and error without actually doing it with strangers.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it. And I mean, our family's usually going to be a little bit more receptive
Understanding.
and understanding if there are mistakes or other things. Although
Yeah.
working with family can come with its own like
Oh
troubles
yeah.
and trials as well, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It sure can.
yeah. Well, that's so cool. So, like when you guys started out, how many trucks did you have and how many have you got now?
Okay, so the first year we started off with 1 truck,
Mhm.
and then the second year our goal was to have 5 trucks, but we end up running 7 trucks. And so it's based off the volume. So we'll run anywhere between 3 to 7 trucks. That's what we've been running since our second year. But we have a bigger contract now. And now the goal is to have 30 trucks by next year.
Wow.
That is our goal. That's our goal because we pretty much have everything in place. Um, We have really strong teams. We have really strong trainers. We have really strong systems in place where it'll be able to handle, that amount of trucks. So that's our goal. That's our goal.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a big move, but it's awesome that you feel like you guys have the systems and people and everything in place to be able to make that goal happen. I bet that feels really nice as a business owner.
No, it feels good. It feels good. And it's just like, am I removing all this stuff out of my life to start a family or am I removing it from so I'm definitely gonna have to get an assistant or a secretary for sure on this one.
Now that you've hired all of the people for him, now you need to hire for you.
Exactly.
That's awesome, though. So you said you guys have one major contract that you run then?
Yep, we have one major contract. Well, actually, we have two. So the contract that we currently have right now, that contract, the company is going bankrupt,
Mm,
and so that contract is ending. Actually, our contract is ending October the 6th.
mm.
So in the transition of that contract and closing, I found another contract, which we started last week. Then it's just I found another contract and I was like, like let's keep these two contracts and work it. And one contract requires two people, the other contract just requires one person. And we can rotate our guys. They're not always working with someone or always doing, furniture and appliances. They can take a break and just do pick up and drop off, with the I can't even think of the machine. Uh but you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I got it.
Yeah. It's it's not a forklift. It's a pallet jack. That's what
Oh,
it is.
yeah,
The
yeah,
pallet jack. You use the pallet jack to, pick up the boxes and you can drop them off and, you're on your way. So that's a little bit more easier than, delivering furniture and appliances and being in people's homes.
yeah, yeah. Well, and it's nice that you like are able to do both contracts, make enough money, and still have flexibility like that where
Mhm.
you can like shift people around. Because I do feel like, um, especially with like more physical work like that, it can really wear people down really fast. So I'm sure that helps you guys retain employees a lot longer by being
Yeah.
able to do that.
I think so. That was our game plan of why we went with the two that contract with just one person, just to give people bodies a break, opposed to having them off. They can have a day off or however many days they want off, but then they can come back to something less more stressful on their body.
Yeah. And so you mentioned at the beginning that you guys do second chances, like
Mhm.
hires. So what does that mean and what does it entail?
So we have relationships with parole officers. And as long as they meet the requirements of our contract and the contract that we have with the companies, we'll give them a second chance. As long as they're able to pass a background check and a drug test, they can work for us. So we have partnered with a few parole officers here in Houston.
That is great though that you guys have that opportunity available for them because I know for a lot of them it's very hard to find any jobs at all. So I'm sure they're very grateful when they can come and work for you guys.
It's, the people that we hired, and they come in so nervous because they've been denied so many places, and they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And I'm like, just stay, you know, um, prayerful and just faithful to, what's happening. And when the background check come back like pass, it's just so rewarding to know that I'm able to give them this opportunity where they're making $1,000 or more a week, just depending on how much they work. And they're so excited, like so
Yeah.
excited to be able to have that opportunity to be able to bring in that type of money. Because to some it's not much, but to most that's a lot of money. So $4,000 a month, you know. So it's just been very rewarding, and I'm very grateful to be in this opportunity to be able to pass along to others.
Which I love that so much. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people and businesses are really afraid of hiring people with backgrounds like that. Have you run into any issues, or do you find them to be really good employees that are pretty loyal because they're getting that kind of a chance?
We haven't ran into any issues. Thank God we have not ran in any of those issues. They're so grateful for the opportunity. Opportunity. They don't want to mess that up for themselves. And that's the whole part of second chance, giving someone a second chance and not judging them on their past. You just have to believe that they'll do the right thing. And if they don't, you let them go, you know, but I don't think you should stop giving people the opportunity. You have to trust them, you know, and if they give you anything to not trust them, then you just let them go. You can hire someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So this is the financial part of me. Do you
Yeah.
guys provide benefits to your employees?
So, because they're subcontractors and they're
Oh,
1099,
yep.
yeah, we don't provide benefits. Now, if they want life insurance, come to me. If you want to start a retirement plan, definitely come to me. I'm your girl, right?
Yep.
So
Like
yeah,
all in house anyway.
it's all in house. I'll get it all set up for you.
No, I love
And so, but yeah, no, that's what we can offer. You know, it would definitely have to come out of, you know, their accounts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's so funny. I was just thinking back to you saying, like, you guys are building and growing to hopefully 30 trucks in this next year.
Mhm.
As a mom and a business owner and all the things, I'm just going to warn you, it never gets better. And you just have to make a choice and make it happen.
I feel like, you know, I always think like if I had a little small individual next to me, like, will I be doing this, you know, or will I still be shaking and moving? Um, and I'm like, I probably would. The baby will be right there in the warehouse. Like, we
Mhm.
got to get this done, you know?
Yep.
So I did tell myself I don't want to stop at a sense, you know. I know when I see a lot of moms, they, you know, stop and focus on the baby, focus on the family. And I want to be all for that, but I don't want to stop completely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're just going to have to shake and move with mom.
It's
Yeah.
all about just like shifting and adjusting and finding
Yeah.
that new sense of harmony, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's what it is. Cause I know me, I can get into my comfort zone and we'll be in the house like every day, all day.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. My son is going to be 7 in just a couple weeks.
Mhm.
And, he's been so built into everything that I've done that it's just normal for him. And like, he just goes with it because yeah, because he's been around it his entire life. He like
Yeah.
comes to events with me and like, goes to the gym with me every day. And like we have those systems and processes in place, just like building a business. You have to put systems and processes and do all the things. You just do the same with a kid.
That will be me. Like I'm not slowing down. I'm not gonna stop. You know, I'll slow down for a minute, but I like new things. I like to learn new things. I like new challenges. And I know the moms on the other side, like, girl, you just wait. I feel like my mom was like that too. You know, like I was just everything that my mom was doing, I was just like right there by her side.
Mm,
You know, and so nothing stopped her from accomplishing the things that she wanted to accomplish out of life. And so
I love that.
I want to be the same way. Mhm.
Yeah, is your family super supportive of like all of your entrepreneurial everythings?
Yes, support me. I mean, my life has always been whatever I want to do, I'm going to go do it. You either with me or you're not. And I feel like my parents already knew that about me. And so when I was working for Chase, I worked for JP Morgan Chase for 10
Yeah.
years. I was a money launder investigator
Mm.
when I left Chase. And I remember when Chase took over WaMu Bank, and they were sending me to different states. Like they were sending me to, well, it was just New York and it was Texas to train classes on getting everybody acclimated with Chase Way outside of WaMu. And so they sent me to San Antonio, Texas, um, in April. And, from Michigan in April, we're still having like snowstorms, right?
Yep. Yep.
And, and so I'm like, I knew that I wanted to move out of Michigan. I knew that that wasn't where I was going to build my career. I needed to move on, see different things. And I told myself, like, before I leave San Antonio, I'm going to get an interview with this manager. I wanted to work in their fraud department with Chase. Long story short, I got the interview, right before I was like the day I was getting off work, I got the interview. And they offered me a job. They offered me a job a week later. And then they said, can you get here, like move here in a week and a half? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, I don't know, but I'm just like, absolutely, I can be there. No problem. And I didn't tell like my friends. I didn't tell all of my family. Like I set my parents down and I explained to them like this is what I want to do. This is, I have my degree in financial forensics, and this is right along the lines of what I'm trying to, do with my career. And they're like, we support you. Like, when do you leave? How, like, how do you want to get there? Like, tell us the plan. They were behind me. They even gave me like a going away party. Like, they were just very supportive about it. They didn't say, no, don't leave us, or, you know, we don't want you to go. Like, you really need to stay. No, they didn't do that.
Hmm.
So they know. They know I always have a business plan, and and I think that keeps them excited as well about my
Yeah.
life. Like, okay, what are you doing this week?
Yep. Always got something. I literally just called my mom earlier and said, I have this business opportunity, but I can't make it work without your help. So can you help me, please?
No, exactly. Now I'm into YouTube, and I'm like, like, how do I build my YouTube channel? So yeah.
Oh, yep. Yep. Well, I was gonna say, speaking of moms that don't slow down and still do all the things, we have
Mhm.
a whole podcast all about those women and over 130 episodes
I
with women from all over the world that are doing all the things. So if you need some motivation as you move into that part of your life, we gotcha.
No, and I was listening to some, and I'm like, man, these women are amazing. They haven't stopped.
Yeah.
They're still rocking and rolling, and I'm like, this is the motivation that I know that I'll need, because you're around so many people that will say, no, you're gonna have to slow down, you're gonna have to stop doing what you're doing. A lot of people try to project their experience onto you or whatnot. And I'm like, that's not what I need. I
Mhm.
need to be around the women that's like, I'm still, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that. My baby right here, healthy and fine. We're making it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's so true. And I think it's so important, like, whatever stage you're in life, to just like find those people that are like going to be that good support system and be cheering you on no matter what decisions you make, whether that's slowing down, speeding up, doing more, doing less.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think each of us is so individual in like how we think about things, how we process things, how we move through life, and like what we can handle that I
Yeah, and
now have
thinking.
decided that I only listen to people who are doing the things that I want to be doing, because
Yeah.
everyone's going to have an opinion, and I don't necessarily need to listen to the opinion of somebody who is not doing the things that I want to be doing.
You said it so perfectly. Like that's the thing, you know. Even when we were getting in the trucking industry, a lot of people told us not to get in the industry. We wasn't gonna make money. We were gonna have to sell our trucks. We wasn't gonna have consistent work. It was like a lot of negativity. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't care because the numbers make sense. I did the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Just because you may have went through not a good situation, that doesn't mean that we're going to go through that situation. So I'm gonna still test it out. Like, let me be the judge of that, you know, because what's for you is for you, and what's not is not. So
Yeah. Well, and especially in trucking, you can kind of make it whatever you want to make it, depending on like what type of trucking you're doing and like how far you want to travel. If you want to do contracts or if you want to do, just like whatever load comes up on the board.
yeah,
It can be so varied that you can really make it what you need to make it.
yeah, no part, any part of trucking, you can make a lot of money. You just have to make it, like you said, you make it what you want it to be. And you will make the money that you want to make. So
Yeah. I mean, you guys do box trucks and
Mhm.
mostly just like daily deliveries on a contract, so you know what you're doing every day. My
Every day.
partner, he does hot shot trucking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he's actually on his way to buy a new dually today.
You
And
know what? I'm glad my fiance is not here because he'd be like, "See, babe, see." So we when we started in the trucking industry, I would say the second year, he's like, "I want to do hot shots," and I'm like, "Okay." And so I think it was more of he really wanted a dually truck. That's what I think.
yeah.
So we went out and we got this brand new dually truck and this 40-foot trailer,
Trailer. Yeah.
gooseneck trailer that's sitting on our farm that has not even been on the road, okay? That we're still paying for, like, that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
the dually was stolen. Like
Oh my
we didn't even,
gosh.
we didn't even get a chance to get on the road and do what we
Mhm.
needed to do because someone stole the dually
Yeah, that's
like
interesting.
a
Yeah,
few
my
months.
my partner is obsessed with his dually. He loves that truck, I think sometimes more than he loves me. Uh, but it's nice for him because he is not from the US, and so he
Okay.
moved here when he was young and went to school and realized that was not going to be his thing, and so he got into construction and then eventually ended up coming into hotshot trucking, and he was able to travel all over the US, see everything he could ever want to all over. And so even now when my son is with his dad, I hop in the truck with him and go run
Oh,
loads with him, and it's like something fun that we get to do together. But again, there's always downsides. No matter what you're getting yourself into, he's gone like 90% of the time. So it's always a give and take, no matter like what business, what industry, any of that
yeah.
that you get into.
Yeah, and that's the hard part. And that's what we said when we got into the trucking industry. I told Austin, I said, we have to stay local. Like being over the road and not being at home at night, like that's not the business I want to create.
Yep.
So I totally understand. And plus I said, if we're going to hire and build teams, and, I would want them to go home at night and
Yep.
not be on the road all the time. Cause that's hard. It's hard. So
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, and again, you get to, as the business owner, decide and make
Yeah.
those conscious decisions and build the business around the way that you're wanting to live life.
Yep. Yep. And the good thing is, if you don't want to go, you don't you stack enough money, you can sit out for,
Hmm.
so that's the beauty about entrepreneurship. You make your own schedule, you move how you want to move, you make the money you want to make. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap this up, do you have any final tips, tricks, tools, anything like that for women who might be interested in starting their own trucking business?
Sure. So I do give a free class. You guys can follow me on Instagram at LILMZ Millionaire. And I give free virtual Zoom class where I'm giving tips and tricks on how to get started in the box truck industry. And you can take that information and get started. But if you want more in depth, of course, I have a course and a mentorship that you can tap into to get more
As
detailed.
if you're not doing enough.
Right, we didn't talk about the coaching that I do.
know.
The coaching and the coaching cause and the community that I've built.
Love it.
So I also do that. So yeah, you can reach me if you want to check out my website. The website is boxtruckmillionaire.com, and you can schedule consultations and just read about everything that I have. Podcasts, been on the news, have networking events here in Houston, free networking events.
Cool.
And so you can learn more about me, from my website. So what I will leave as the strong women that we are, what I do and what I leave with everyone is make sure you take time for yourself. A lot of people say it's hard to have a moment to themselves, but create that moment because it's so needed and it's so it helps you balance everything out. And every month, maybe twice a month, I make sure that I go and do self-care, like go get a massage. I mean, every Saturday I go and get acupuncture to take the tension and just like the daily things that we go through, off me. So I leave with that. I know you probably want us to hear something educational, but honestly, it starts with your mind, your body, and then you can be the best version of yourself. So,
No, I 100% agree and preach that all the time. Today was that day for me. I went and got a 60-minute facial and then went and did
I know it's
therapy right
something.
after.
I'm so relaxed.
Yeah. I feel great. It's just
I
you need that reset
you do.
sometimes.
You do. My reset, I look forward to Saturdays and Sundays. I'm always just working, but Saturdays and Sundays, I literally like just unplug. I'm like, whatever needs to get done will get done on Monday through Friday. But Saturdays and Sundays is just my time. Until until I have a kid. It's gonna be our time.
Yeah. Then you have soccer games on every Saturday. Yeah.
So again, I'm mentally preparing myself. I'm mentally preparing myself for all the good days with the kiddos.
It'll come sooner than you think. And, for now, like you guys are focusing on you and the wedding and all the business things and everything. So I feel like we barely scratched the surface on you and everything that you're doing and got going on. So guys, go check out her pages that she mentioned earlier. If you just want to say them one more time for them.
Sure. You can follow me on all social media platforms at LILMZ Millionaire. And if you want to check out my website, learn more about me, you can go to boxtruckmillionaire.com.
Perfect. Go check her out if you guys are interested. Sign up for some of her classes. If you're in the Texas area, go to one of her events. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a really good conversation. It feels good talking to another busybody entrepreneur.
Yeah. Nice to have solace in each other sometimes. So.
Like-minded.
Thank you for joining us today on the Mompreneur podcast. And if you like this episode as much as we did, give us a follow so we can invite you back every Wednesday. And of course, share it on all your socials. Being a confident mompreneur means uncovering your strengths and struggles so you can dive in and learn how your next steps could be your greatest.